So Microsoft Copilot, we had a quick look because Copilot is not just one. Copilot is much wider than what we thought. So it's important for us to understand the Copilot ecosystem that we evolved around the Copilot app, which is the easy one, which you could download and you could go from there. Next was the Copilot Pro. I also recommended that you could go download it for a 1-month trial and then you could test it out. It's very similar to the ChatGPT and the Claude and other ecosystem that we could do. Hi, Christina, welcome. So please to introduce yourself in the chat so that it's easy for me to know who is asking the question. So, and then we went on with Microsoft 365 Copilot. So in the chat box, let me know if anybody has access to Microsoft Copilot, because you will be able to relate it a lot more than someone who doesn't have, and you'll be looking at more like a theory. If you have, let me know if you do have access to Microsoft Copilot. That'd be good news. So what's a Copilot? We already looked into that. It's a sophisticated engine within Microsoft 365 suite of products, where it builds in 3 important components. Number one is the large language model, which it kind of plugs into, like with OpenAI system. Then the content within the Microsoft Graph. This is unique to Microsoft, which is what we discovered, which is like your emails that you're coming through the Teams chat and any documents that you have permission to access and the permission that you have given others to access. The third one is the Microsoft suite of product, which is how you can take the large language model, the documents that you own and you have shared, plus added as another layer to the Word, the Excel, the PowerPoint, the Outlook, the X, Y, Z, etc. within the whole ecosystem. That makes it a very unique system. Obviously, it's an early product, so you just need to go with that. And if anybody wants to join the Microsoft Teams, because from next time, we'll be doing the webinar in Microsoft Teams, so that we can play with Copilot as we do, and we could have Copilot also as an audience, and we could just go with that. So if you can join, I will add. Nicholas, welcome. Oh yes, welcome. You just got it yesterday. Nice. I did saw a note, but I thought it's good for you to come and you can do that. So let me, as I always do, I'm going to add this, but I'm not sure whether I can actually go and see this, but we have this one that's actually going as we speak. I'm going to add in the chat. If you want to do, don't worry, you are here, I know, but if you do want to have a conversation with Copilot, you could also join the Copilot thingy. So I've also added there. So we are going to do multitasking as we speak. This is Microsoft Teams we are doing in parallel. So just to test, not sure whether it comes out okay, but it's always, if we live in a curious world, and why not? Let's do a test. So I've just added the link in there for join in. And at some point, I'll just go back and open you in. So we looked into this, right? Microsoft Graph is the important system that we need to understand, which is okay. So what that meant is our journey. I don't know. So many of us have got a big mindset shift already, but wait for a different mindset shift that we need to get used to it. So far, we have been working in our own silos. Then we drop into Claude or we drop into ChatGPT and then say, hey, can you rewrite this email? Hey, or what do you know about this? Hey, what do you do about? So which means you have parallel system. You open 2 tabs in your system and then you work. So your Word document is there, your PowerPoint is there, and your other things is there. Then you work in Claude or ChatGPT. Then you work, then you're fine-tuned with it working. But today, you can actually bring Copilot, which is similar to ChatGPT, inside the system. And I find it, I'm still finding it difficult to accept this is happening. And I'm sure you are going to go through that same process of denial in the very early phases, then of letting go of ChatGPT, letting go of Claude. I haven't. Our Copilot, I have 3, plus I have Microsoft Copilot. So you will be accepting how the world works. So if you are using ChatGPT, Claude, continue to use it. And if you are using corporate, data, your proposal automation tool, that's your knowledge repository. And if those guys are plugged into OpenAI and said, hey, we are AI powered, do that. Or if your team has invested in this what we call custom LLMs that say, hey, we can do this AI thing for you on a $1,000 monthly subscription. We are this AI writing tool, work with it as well. as you can see here, the whole world will start to converge very, very quickly, and it's happening very fast. Well, I will share in the next update of the impact, which means the news of, hey, you won't be replaced by, AI, you will be replaced by somebody who knows AI, is already debunked, because 2025 the convergence is going to happen, and you're going to start to feel the impact within our world of what's happening. So this is Microsoft Graph, which is the underlying principle behind how Microsoft works, and the three different variants that we talked about, which we went in deeper last time. I just thought I'd do that. The only difference, the key point, for self-employed or the freelancers or the consultants is, if I were you, and I would go and invest on Microsoft Standard, which I know it's $10 a month, plus you bucket $30 a month on top of it, just so that you have this enterprise grade data production. You don't want to miss it. But otherwise, if all the other SMEs or bigger enterprises, it's worth asking your IT person, somebody, hey, what, can I give one user license for Microsoft Copilot? And I just want to test it for my team, test it for my systems, etc. So it's worth asking to them, or if somebody have already access to it, just ask them to see whether you can also plug into that. So this is it. $20 for Copilot Pro, 100% go and write it. The advantage of Copilot Pro is, as you know, it gives you the source links of what's happening. Again, it's not going to write a long form content like proposals and etc. or website copies and other things, but it's very, very, very conservative in its return. So if you go back and ask a question about something that's on the borderline, it will say, hey, sorry, I'm an AI model, I can't do it. So very, very risk aversive tool. Where Copilot or Claude or ChatGPT will go one level up and then say, hey, I can't do this, but if you want, I'm just going to share this to you. That's it. So Microsoft, that clearly it just stops then and there and tell you, sorry, I can't. So as I told you, $30 in. So the question is, do you want to invest $20 or $30? If I were you, if I have a ChatGPT subscription, I'll continue to use ChatGPT subscription so that you're not buying Copilot Pro. But if you have got Copilot Pro or Copilot for Microsoft 365, 100% go with Microsoft 365 Copilot and get used to the system. So this is the real email that you will get once you have access to Copilot. The very first email is, hey, welcome to Copilot, and this is what you do with it. So again, every single point they have given here, I've just copy pasted exactly for you. So what you have told here is, okay, you have Microsoft 365 chat. End of the day, it's a chat tool. The Teams, the Outlook, the Word, the PowerPoint, and this is what you can do as a prompt, a basic prompt. And then it also goes back and talks about Microsoft Loop, which is another product. OneNote, which is amazing, which is what I use a lot. Whiteboard, if you haven't used it. And then the important thing, which we discussed last time, is Copilot Lab. Search for Copilot Lab. So that's where you're going to find a lot of technical articles, basic articles, even some basic beginner videos about how to use specifically for Word, how to use it for PowerPoint, how to use it there. But if you don't have time, don't worry. We have sliced and diced it specific for you in the upcoming workshops. You can just get used to it. But the very simple thing, download the mobile app, Copilot, and start to use it and get to the world of it. So I'll quickly, I don't want to miss this, so I'm just going to share this in the slide, but we're going to do a live demo as well. So when you open a Word document, this is what you're going to find. So your Copilot will be a little icon on the top, and then you're going to find a little forward slash that you're going to say, okay, this is it. So the point, I just want to cover this before I get into live demo, is when you open a new draft in a document, it will tell you, hey, use Alt-I to draft with Copilot. This is where you could use the Word document like a ChatGPT. So you don't want to copy paste it to your Word document. You can start to draft within here. So very first test I would like you to do that is go back and ask about your company, your competitor, your tender, your buyer, your subcontractor, your partner, anything, your CEO, your mission, vision, values, whatever. Get an understanding of what Copilot already knows about your company and anything else that comes with it. So it will write up for you. Then you could have conversation with XYZ. But there is another thing that's next to the generate button is what you'll find as a reference file. If you click that file, it will open just on the left box. Well, the important point here is this is going to be I wouldn't say a learning curve. Yes, if that's, let's say, positive. It's a learning curve because the reference file will get used to it. So any file that you've opened recently, which is today or yesterday, if you haven't opened that many files, those will be coming on the top. So you could open that file and you could have conversation about that document with that file. If you haven't done that, then you have to set a path. So, and this is called the in scope. So two things which you need to remember is the document that will pulled off will not be in your documents. If you have a My Documents folder, My Pictures folder, you created your own personal folders, Copilot will not pick it up. Copilot will pick up only if it's in SharePoint or OneDrive. So if you want to work with any document or any PowerPoint or any Excel or any other stuff, it goes to OneDrive, it goes to SharePoint. So the what was considered as a low value tasks, which is configuring knowledge library, will be the by far the most important skill set in the next few years, at least for the next year, at least for this industry. So if anybody comes back and tells you, I got this tool and I'm subscribing, the tool can, like Copilot, the tool can only do with what you have. And Microsoft has its own semantic search of how you can use it to do it. We were touched it on the Bootcamp to configure, but not here. But what you'll find here is the very simple thing. You put a / and then you can just do it. Or otherwise, anything in SharePoint or OneDrive will be picked up. And what's the format that you're going to go for is /, you put the file name. Remember, the file name here is just as an example. So primarily, you are going to, yes, that's it. So what Nick has shared, that is set up your documents to automatically sync to OneDrive, because not many of us will do that. But important. So from now on, you just need to get used to saving your document or set auto save in OneDrive so that you're not missing the boat. That's good. Very, very good. Thank you, Nick. So / file name meant that you can now go back and put this. But again, as I mentioned here, / put the entire file path with this. There is no open and close parenthesis. So just for the entire file name, even if it picks up, but sometimes it doesn't pick up. It takes a little time, and it's going to save in OneDrive, even if it's not, and then it goes from there. So what you'll find here is within any tool, again, you are going to find what we call add-ins, and the add-ins is somewhere that you're going to go back and add. This is from PowerPoint. So the Copilot button will be there in the menu. I'll show you, but I'll quickly run through this. So next one. And then the way it's generate, you go test with it. Second one is / put the file name. Again, if you already have a document, like how you can have the conversation with the document and then say, hey, summarize this document, do this. You can also do the same thing with the presentation. So halfway through, while I was doing this presentation, I just asked Copilot, hey, summarize this presentation. What are the main ideas? It just talks about what's Copilot, talked about data access, what are the limitations, the training that we have, and then it also looked into this. So ask me about something, then you could continue to have a conversation with it. You are going to find another button, which I'm going to share you, but just so that I don't miss the flow, it's here. I've added this file here, and then I said, hey, can you talk about this? It doesn't like it. So you can't have conversation on the side with Copilot. You have to, open that file. Then you could talk about that file. Open that file and talk about that file. So this button that you're going to see here, which looks like a train symbol. I don't know whether you can see here, like a train symbol next to the mic. If you open that, that's where the prompts kicked in. For example, there are so many people who are engineering prompts and saying, yes, even beginners, we did it. You can find the prompt engineering patterns that we have in our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. But what you'll find here is this one. It clicks and it tells you what are the prompts that you could go for it. So you could search and do by categories. Obviously, this connects to DALL-E image creators. It also does it. I'll also show some sample. It goes back and helps you to write prompt itself, so you can work with it. So again, very, very user-friendly. You can click this button and say, I really don't know what I need to do with this presentation. Can you give me some ideas? It'll just give you the ideas. Then you can go back and save these prompts. It's important. Next one. What I did was I just went and asked, this is the exact lift from Copilot. So I went and asked in this, what do you know about Bachu? I was curious, what do you know about Bachu? I was expecting it to say who Bachu. I wasn't hardly heard about the company, but it came back and said this, and it also inserted a diagram. So without knowing, it's from scratch, it just did it. Again, as an example, in Copilot, you could say, what do you know about this company? That will come, it just comes with it. So primarily, I was happy that it knows. And then, the second important point is this. Again, this is a mindset shift that we're talking about. You might be subscribing yourself to ChatGPT or Claude, where you could go back to the library and pick up, hey, what did I search last week? Say, for example, you are having a conversation with your team, and for some reason, to keep the thought process, you have copy pasted it in ChatGPT so that it filters, write these actions in a professional format, put this in a timetable, etc. So you have that flow anyway. So you could get back to it, and you could put the latest update, and then tells you use the previous information and this current information and continue and write a further summary for it will write. Unfortunately, with Copilot, uh, for data privacy reasons, it doesn't save any previous instructions. So if you go back and say, any previous chat that you have done, it's not. So you might be opening this presentation and you're working on it and you saved it. And next time you're conversing with Copilot, and then Copilot gives you a lot of good information. But then you go back and open it. If you go back and scroll it, that information might not be there. Again, in settings, you can go back and ensure that the chats could be saved. But again, these are encrypted. Microsoft encrypts this in its format, and you can do it. But again, you have an option to save those encryption and retrieve it. But again, you don't know. You don't know, this presentation might be shared with the XYZ people within your team. And if any chats that's currently there, if you say open for it to go, you don't know who else can have access to this chat. So Microsoft default locks it, but I suggest you do the same. So what that meant is, mindset shift wise, you can't access the previous chats on it. So again, this is where the test recording, which is where, so primarily if you're working with teams, which we'll also have a look live, this is the morning session that I had. Important thing is you need to set up automatically in Teams to record. If the record and transcribe button is not switched on, the toggle is switched on, Copilot will be like, hey, what do we want me to do? I can't do anything. Having said that, if you don't want the meeting recorded, obviously not many people want the meeting to be recorded, then you could also have a plan B, where you could go for that specific meeting, and then you could say, scroll down to Copilot. Again, you should have administrator access to it. And primarily, you could set up in the meeting option for that specific meeting that says, hey, allow Copilot during the meeting. So it will still be listening to the conversation, and you could have conversation in it. So which means you don't need, this is the autopilot and Copilot, the different ones, right? So you could either have the recording transcription and then ask Copilot to converse with it, or you bring Copilot as your attendee and you could have the things going forward. So I've set it up already, but we'll just see how far it works. So we're also going to look into these things. I know it's tough, but let's have a look. So once, if you have the admin and other things, remember, so far we are working with the Microsoft suite of products. But remember, there is no PDF within Microsoft. So you might need to have Adobe PDF. So what you will do, you are just going to add that plugin and you're going to have it there. So important point here, which you'll touch very quickly, is within your Copilot Microsoft settings, there are some things that we need to go for. And 100%, I just want you to be comfortable with it. Your IT admin, let them do what they do, but it's important for you to understand what they have done, have a friendly meeting with them and understand, hey, can you share the Copilot settings, just so that I have peace of mind, or understand how they are configured, so that that when your team is concerned about, hey, I don't want to use Copilot or something, you can give them the confidence, it's fine, this is how it's been structured. Because not necessarily IT team are great in sharing how things work, but it's what it is. We are going to look into this as well. So part of it, if you security compliance, you have these things. Two important points is this Microsoft Purview. Microsoft, again, your IT team will do it. Otherwise, in the boot camp, we will be able to configure this with you. So this is where it just a retention policies is like, what do you actually save? And how do you actually save? That's the retention. Sensitivity labels is another thing, which is how you kind of process the information in a much more sensitive way. And the next one is, everything, the important word like the Microsoft Graph is Microsoft Purview. And that's something which we need to be comfortable with for our own personal use, and if you're managing a team, for the team's use, and if you are a leader within your company, for the wider organization as well. Just as a simple example, this is how Microsoft Purview looks like. As you can see here, you can do it. This is not as technical as I thought. So we can work it through, and we can do which retention policies. It automatically starts to help you to contain what could be the good one for you to work on it. Again, before I get into the demo, I just want to tell the boundary. Again, you might be thinking, oh my God, it's all great. It's saving the data, my OneDrive, etc. Your company might already have your data residency policy within Microsoft Copilot. Here also, it's important for you. So if you are from EU, obviously the European Union has its own regulations. United States data sticks in United States. And if you are not, if you haven't set any geography, it actually works it accordingly in the overall thing. But remember, this is just data, but the large language models are actually intensive, resource not data intensive. So they might be deciding, while your data is hosted here, the large language models, which you might have also access to it, is hosted elsewhere. So again, as you need to be familiarizing yourself, which is like, where are the LLMs that's part of your Copilot is hosted? It's actually the closest data center in the region, but can also call into other regions where capacity is available during high utilization period. So you need to know about that. Again, where does your data sits, where does the LLM data sits, that's it. So again, get used to it. Again, get used to it. So now you might be thinking, Bhaskar, OpenAI, with ChatGPT, it connects to the web. Claude connects to the web with some plugins. Can I also connect Microsoft 365 to plugin? Yeah, 100%. The original Copilot used to be called Bing Search, remember? So that's how it started, and they changed it. This is an example from Microsoft itself. So when you tick the box that says, I'm happy for the web content plugin to be ticked off, then in addition to what Copilot already knows in large language models, it also goes back and searches it. But here is a unique feature. So here is a question about, hey, I'm planning to acquire this company. Help me put together a 200 word document on publicly available information about this company. So Copilot already writes it, but if you want to plug into web to understand what's the latest information on it, it's not going to go back and search everything. It picks up key terms. So the Bing search, what goes from there to Bing search is only 2 keywords, what that works on, that comes with it. Again, that search queries, as they call it, that goes into Bing search, and then the information gets added. So this is, but the fallback, which is great, which meant not everything. It's not telling the world that I'm planning to acquire an XYZ 200 word. It just picks up, okay, we want to know Fabricom, and we also want to know about related to acquisition. So I need to know financials. I need to know what their strategy is. It searches for it, uses that information to it. So that's an important feature. The second one is, when you use Bing search, you also need to know that you are moving away from Microsoft 365 data governance. So, and it has a different data handling policy. It's still part of Microsoft ecosystem, but obviously, because the data goes outside and inside, it gives you accurate information, but there is a caveat where the data is not the same for Microsoft 365, the security data XYZ. So it's something that you need to be familiarizing with. Again, during the boot camp, we can go deeper on this. You might be now thinking, as I mentioned, oh my God, like how the ChatGPT and Claude and any other tool have created their own ecosystem of apps that helps them to do a lot more. That's why you can find any any AI proposal writing tools or nothing but an app, because they have used the original code, original LLMs from OpenAI or Google or Microsoft, and they have created an app out of it. So there are 2,400 apps that you could choose from. and you could connect it part of this. So primarily, if I go and create Adobe Acrobat, this is what happens. I've downloaded Adobe Acrobat, it's added. So next time when you log into a Word or a PowerPoint, etc., there's Acrobat waiting for you. But obviously, Adobe Acrobat is a paid tool. What comes with free with Copilot, it enables you to just convert a document, the current document that you have is into a PDF for free. That's what it does. But it's important for you to go and work through it. So again, in every app, whether it's Word or PowerPoint, Excel, you're going to find a simple thing called add-ins. And the add-ins, if you click, it will be like a small square button. If you click that, you're going to see what add-ins are automatically. And again, it's important for your IT or your team to know, hey, what add-ins have you already included? If not, can you include these add-ins for my company or for my work? Because it's important for me to do it. As you can see here, there are Adobe suite of products, especially if you're using all the graphics and other things, it's helpful. So that's where we are. Again, we covered this before I open up and show. We already touched this last time, and how you need to set up your permissions, which is going to be important. Even if you have view permissions, you can still access the document. Obviously, it's view. And similarly, you need to understand what permissions you're going to give it to your team. Here is the other important caveat. And I know in the US, it's very common to work with a lot of consultants, whereas in the UK, it's the other way around, where mostly the teams do most of the work and they only come for search support. Either way, if you have Copilot and if you are suddenly bringing an external consultant or a team to work with you, you also need to understand the permissions that you're giving them outside the organization, because the SharePoint and other things, let's be mindful. I'm not going to say more on that, but let's be mindful, because they can sit and search and chat and get to know a lot more. But just be very careful. So what will be your outside your organization permissions that you need to go for? So these are a couple of things, and this is called what we call extensibility plugins and web content plugins, which is how are you extending with new apps and how you are going to add the web content to your Bing search, which I actually covered. I'll show you the other one. Let me stop the thing there. And then, yeah, we already touched it. It's $400 worth it for me to go for it. Before you make the decision, I just want one person to try it. And it's going to take time, because mentally, with this 1 year, April last year, ChatGPT was introduced. Claude, we are fine-tuned to open a new tab, work with something external. So there's a clear demarcation between what work you have done and what's the outside world. Today, the outside world is now part of your world. So that's where chaos kicks in. So you just need to somehow get into a state of, a Zen state of having absolute clarity. That's why I'm here, and the training and other things are for. But you will only know and if you test it, experiment it. So the reference file feature, I already mentioned that. So that's why it's going to be important. So when you start to work with it, structuring a SharePoint, I've added a new module in the bootcamp, in the mid-May bootcamp, but I'm planning to do a complete deep dive workshop on structuring a SharePoint for Microsoft Copilot. I'll let you know. You'll be the first group to let you know, because it's going to be important for us to know OneDrive and SharePoint, so that when you plug in, remember, you can only work with one file at a time, right? So it's with the Copilot, it's not a full-fledged proposal automation thing where all the content in there, where you go and ask a question, you can do that. But again, that's today. But you can customize it, configure it to also do that one for you. No, that's it. So I already talked about mindset shift. But if you're using Copilot, remember Copilot Pro, which is the free trial that is strongly suggested you get used to Microsoft Word, like without the Microsoft Copilot, Copilot Pro, which is the 30-day trial. If you go and ask a question, it will answer it because it goes to the world. But if you want to upload a file, you always need to use the @ symbol in the beginning. If you use @ symbol, put a file path, it picks up and it answers only about it. Otherwise, it just goes to the world and then it answers it, not just on the document, but also on the other one. Just add a little point. So let me stop there and let me quickly go and stop share. Come on. Yes. Let me quickly go back and do a few things. Are you still with me, or did I roasted you already? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Uh, Let me do this. Sorry, stay with me. Please share again. We'll go back again to the screen. So let me know if you can share the screen. Oh, sorry, see the screen. Yeah, please. Thank you. That's great. Okay. So primarily, when you open a file, this is how it looks like. So let me open a new share, new file, so we can start from there. So as I mentioned, this is the thing that comes up with it. And we just have to go, your Copilot will be hiding at the very end. So what it says here is this. So I'm going to add Alt-I to bring the Copilot. So it's here already, and you can start to have conversation right about anything about NASA. I don't know. Let's see. It just comes back. So one of the things that, again, the mindset shift for you is ChatGPT Claude is very, very, very fast. You need to get to the slow version of Copilot. Um, so have a water or draft. So it starts to draft for you. So again, I haven't specifically given it any word limit or anything. You can just have a go. So primarily it's still working on it, and it's approximately, yeah. Okay, be patient. Let's give it a second. So what's done here, you can always stop generating, but let's just see what it does. Again, we haven't given any specific instructions. So again, as you can see here, in split second, it's already written in the Word document that you already have, and you can start to work with it. So what's NASA? What does NASA do? What are NASA's achievements? And it goes on. So you could now keep it, or you could delete it, or you could redraft it and ask to have more. That's the thing. In 200 words for CEO who is tendering for a contract with NASA. Okay, let's see what it does. So goes back and it just redrafts it. Let's just give a couple of seconds and you can go from there. You can see the changes it's making, right? See, it creates a headline, it creates a sub-headline, and you'll be surprised what it can do for you. Again, if it's already before you have to, you can use it. I'm just losing words. Let's just do this. Right? It's already writing it like a proposal, even though there is no proposal for it. It's already writing it. Again, I haven't given any information about the company. As you can clearly see here, your baseline draft, just to give the name of the customer, give you a company, and then say, hey, we are providing X service to this. We are tendering for X service for this buyer, and this is my company. Write a proposal. Write a one page for that. Let's see what it does, and it goes back. So you can keep it, or you can delete it, or you can refresh it, and it goes and it gets you feedback from here. So now I didn't like it. I'm just going to keep it. So I'm going to go Alt-I again. So right now, reference a file. As I mentioned, it just picks off the latest file that I have, and then it goes for the top 3 files. Otherwise, you need to go back and give a file name. So let's just go back and say this is the file I've given. This is in 2016. I did a presentation on how to be the best version of yourself. Um, that's the thing. It's actually 70 slides. I think I might have made a mistake of doing that, but let it go through that and we'll see what it does. In the meantime, we can do multitasking. So this is the Copilot who's been Copilot teams who's been patiently listening to us. So I will. We can start to have the conversation with it. Come on. As you can see, Copilot is here. Yes. So we need to have the recording stop. Please don't tell me. Okay, good. Stop recording. Stop. So let it work through in parallel. So we can come back to it and we can work through. So this is the presentation. From the presentation, it has converted into Word document. I just lifted the file. It just said, hey, okay, how you can, as a person, can access the government as an individual consultant. What you can do. I've just talked about a few things, and that's it. I just introduced, and so it just picks up few elements and it writes. For example, you can attach it, or you could discard it. I don't really like it, but you can go Alt I again, and as I mentioned, you could go path. Now it will ask me for the path. So I'm going to go to my OneDrive, and in OneDrive, I am going to pick up, I don't know, as you can see, I never saved anything in OneDrive, never. So it's 2016, all the files, so it's a learning for me myself. So I'm going to go back and find the path, copy as a path, and it's going to be trial and error, because this reference library, what Microsoft calls, it's going to be like this. As I mentioned, you remove all these things, there is no parenthesis, and let's see what it does. So I've just given the link and it starts. So you could start to have a document, start to play with the document. You can give in a file, and you can, those are some of the basic stuff that you could do, but there's a lot more you could do. But since this is the beginner stuff, we can do the same. PowerPoint, exactly the same. We will, the file that I've opened up, we can start a conversation about that file, which we will do that. And then you can also do few more. And principle, this is it. The Copilot comes up as this is the add-ins I talked about. So you can click the add-in. It tells find add-ins about these things, because Copilot is already here. It won't come here, but you can also have it configured. That makes it easy to it. I don't even know what file I opened it, but the important thing is it took the file. That's the main thing. So if it's not coming up in your reference library initially, it will come up. Just put the path in / it just goes on and it does. So this I don't know what's this, but it is what it is. So this is high level on the losing words, on the Word document. You do exactly the same thing in PowerPoint as well, where you can go back and search for Copilot. I can't see what's happening, sorry. And you can start to have conversations with it. So if you can't find Copilot, you can always go back and search for Copilot, and it will come. So in this case, it's just doing a normal search. So so this is the document that I have added as a plugin. You can do it. Normally, you're going to find a folder here. I'm doing too many things here. So that's it. So Copilot normally comes up. Where is it? Come on. It should come. Maybe I've opened too many files. Wait. So again, as an example, Copilot is here. Oh, that's the reason. It's already here in a different draft. I hope you can see my screen because I put this full screen. I did the same thing in this case. I put it in both the file and I tried to add a prompt. Hey, explain this file. It didn't like it. It's like first you add the file without anything, then you could have conversation with it. And once I added that file, which is a Word document, as you can see here, or it then goes and it has created this entire slide from scratch in 60 seconds. This is when Scribble was originally started in 2018. We had a campaign, what do we need to do? And this is what it does. 14 slides with some basic draft, and it automatically used the template that we had and it went on. So very, very good starting point. And Copilot button is here. Then you could start to have more conversation about this particular thing. It comes with this, let it load. And this is the button that I talked about for the prompt. You could go back and you could have a lot more conversations about it, about the prompts and other things. Initially, it'll come out with few, but you could go back and open, and then you could have a lot more conversations about it. So the PowerPoint is the same. Then you could convert PowerPoint into Word into PowerPoint, etc. I'm very curious what Microsoft Teams is going to do, but we'll come back to that at the very end. And let me go back and show you some of the reference sources before we continue. So Copilot Lab, I'm hoping you can still see my screen. Please let me know if you have Copilot Lab, because with Zoom doesn't like when I moved screens from one to the other, but now it says screen share, so I'm trusting it works. Can you see Copilot Lab at the moment? Yeah. Anyone? Oh, good. Thank you. So Copilot Lab, this is going to be your utmost beginner point here. So you can go back and search Copilot in Word, Copilot in PowerPoint, OneNote, etc., and you can start to learn and build your own thing, because I'm a big fan of self-learning, curious. But if you want, no, ask, I don't have time. Bring everything together in one place and then tell me everything. Happy to do that in one day or over a boot camp where we can go back and implement. So that's the thing. Next one is there is a tech community which you can go back and look into. This is the admin portal. This is my personal admin portal I created specifically for this. So when you go back within your admin portal, this is what your administrator is going to see. Him or her is going to have part of the overall thing. Copilot will be a button, and then there will be all these things. So you could put your feedback loop inside. I already covered it. Plugins comes in here, and you can click one by one, and you can have it. Microsoft Copilot for security, I clicked it. It goes to Security Copilot, which is a very separate conversation. Microsoft has created a load of stuff just to alleviate the stress that goes through. But this goes into your infrastructure. But I don't think is something that you'll be interested to knowing. Your IT will solve it out, don't worry. And what you'll find here is data security and compliance. This is what I talked about. Go back to Purview and you can have a look, and just and every single thing. So Copilot in Bing, Edge, others, you could also configure that. The next one is the integrated apps, which I want to show you. This is like within Copilot, as you can see, the settings in drop-down function, you can go and find any apps, and you could go, what are the two apps that I have? I have Dub, which is the video app that I use to send in. So messages, I send videos to people, and it goes as an email and it's sent to people. And then what are the available apps? If you have any other suite of products, as you can see here, there's a whole industry that has come up with. So be cautious if you're using it. Then Microsoft doesn't have all the control. Most probably they have vetted it, and they have got some structured protocol. But just go for some well-known apps that you can go for. Again, blocked apps. You as an administrator can start to block apps. For example, any social media apps and other things. You don't want any loose data to just go back just in case, if it goes through that. So it's this is how you can integrate the apps. The next one is going to be security, which you already saw. The other it's the same that we found out. What you'll also find, which is useful, which I also covered, is this pilot one. Let me go back now and see whether the Copilot is actually ready for us, or it still says, no, I'm not ready for you. What have you done? So in chat here, you are going to find the recording. So the recording is here. This is recording, do it. And what you do here is as you can see here, this is the link. So it goes to my SharePoint, and then it does it. So you can now go back and use this link in anything, and you can start to work with it. So in this case, I'm going to add a test. You can do that within the Teams itself, but I am going to now check the path, and I'm going to see Alt-I. It picks up, and I'm going to put /. Oh no. Yeah, that's the path. And let's see what it does. Copilot isn't able to generate content from this yet. Please remove any pasted links. Yeah, it doesn't like it, because obviously you just need to save it in a particular place. Then you could have conversation with it. Let's see. Can you summarize the points from the recording? Transcription. The point here is all the transcription are actually stored in a specific place because I did it live. I don't know where I've set the path. So simply you just need to put the path up for it, and it just finds a transcription. Then you could start to have conversation with it. In this case, see, I was stupid enough to go back and add it in the chat window, where ideally I should go back and ask it in Copilot, which, let's see what it does. Its transcription need to be turned on for Copilot to do its thing. I did turn the settings, as you will note here, but these are some things that you will need to work with it. So these are the meeting options. When you go for that, it says record and transcribe automatically. It's been clicked on, part of the Copilot, but it's allow Copilot during and after the meeting it is. So, don't be too smart with it. So give it some time because the meeting is still happening. So I might need to leave the meeting and it might come to it. So, but either way, Microsoft Teams, you can work with it as well. So that's it. Any questions so far? What do you think about Copilot? Add your points in there. And do you? And I know some of you don't have Copilot. Some of you have. Just add your comments initially, and then I will get back to the slides again. Any thoughts? Anything? What was it useful? The basic version of what you can do with the slides. Some of the word thing, how you can add in, how you could do web plugin and few things, and also we didn't touch Excel or we didn't touch things. If you want, I can go back to it. But any initial thoughts? What do you think about Copilot? Any thoughts? So it's there for you to use. It's there for you to use, and whether you're not using it, somebody else is already using it. Where the world will converge, as I told you, is the expectations is companies will start to, the CEOs and others will bluntly make a decision. That's Microsoft cut down 6,000 people just early this week. Microsoft, right? AI is so big. AI is really big. Why? Because they know that there are productivity gains that they can go for it. So your company will try to estimate part using AI. I'm going to make these gains. So who are the people who are upskilled, upskilled with them, and upskilled in AI, upskilled with Copilot, upskilled with related elements of it. So that's it, because it's super, super important to upskill yourself with the AI. Familiarize yourself. There's a lot of content, but if you want to slice and dice, ideally, this is what I did. Unfortunately, it says we are going to, because you have taken your life out 2 hours for that. So I'm going to go for my inaugural one-day workshop. We have 3 people registered so far, but obviously, and if you're from emerging economies or job seekers, 199. But obviously, you get a $100 discount, because I just want to give you the time. And for anybody, if you're in the other Western economies, just come on board for $399. We'll work through app by app, and we could have one-to-one conversation. We'll ensure that you're familiarized with it. Copilot Bootcamp is slightly more intense, so that's about getting your hands really dirty. Not familiarizing gets like by the end of the boot camp, how to configure, your basic structure for a bid, how I can use Copilot, what are the different tools in addition to Word, PowerPoint, OneDrive, SharePoint, all these basic tools, how to use Copilot within these tools. We can also see how we can connect those things and have basic conversations within those tools. I will do that with my example, but it also gives you an option to do it within your example as well. In that way, you can do it. Again, I just want to keep it simple. It's like $200 off on that. $599, 6 weeks, nearly 30 hours of training. I just want you to just be prepared for that. If you haven't still not done it, we looked into the number crunching at the people's, because we have nearly 1,800 people who attended our AI tools, AMA webinars, the 12 webinars that we have done. So what I've asked the team to do, that is obviously, whenever you are ready, if you still have some doubts, I don't have access to Copilot, but I still want to get how can I use 5 basic proposal response in a day, what I can do. It's $95 for India. So, and then if you get 40% discount, literally it's like $50 for $295. Similarly, for the Western economies, 40% discount. So that's it. So if without Copilot, if you want to get used to it, we are now increasing the adoption rate, because I'm starting to see some numbers that's going to hit our industry. while people are making some judgments, and there will be some redundancies, there'll be some job losses going forward. And I just see how many people can be covered through this, so that you are above and beyond these things. Obviously, it's not like companies are not going to be sitting and saying, hey, now with the AI, I'm bidding a lot more, I'm winning a lot more. No, they are like, you know what? I'm just the type of, remember the very first webinar I did, the type of roles that people are getting is slightly more different. So you might have certifications that tells you are great, but most of the content within that certification that you have learned is available in large language models. So, how you can use that to do your best shot at it. So it's there for you. There is we are going to reach out to every single one of you. Give the discount code whenever you are ready. You could come back and do this boot camp, or a intense 4 days, or a 1 day workshop, etc. That's it for now. This is the numbers that we have got. Certification training is open again. Many of you, even including our students, were like, they do online course, they do 1 day training, they just come 1 day training, they get it certified and they move on. But some who are online are still sitting on it. And we have just told all our current students, you will be invited to 1 day training workshop or foundation. By end of the day, you will be certified. For practitioner, if you are sitting on it within our team, you'll be also invited for 2 day practitioner. By end of that, you will be going for the exam. So, but obviously that's slightly upper in our case, because the original team for us for APMP training is just to reach out to people who are not currently unable to afford another thing. So what we have done here is, anybody getting foundation online, which is the entry point for us, you'll be invited to the practitioner and the foundation workshops to get it done as a thing. So which means if you're sitting on it for certification for some time, now is the time. So I'm not fussed with the AI, Bhaskar. I not let Copilot settle in. It's all great, but I'm just going to sit and do this. It's more important for me. So the final pointers, again, now let me go through this. If you have investing on it, please do go and invest 1%, just go for that. Semantic search, you need to get used to it with a file where it says, as Nick pointed out, be the habit of saving that within your OneDrive, so that it's easy for the Copilot to know where it is, because it doesn't know which is your latest file. So don't expect it to say, give you the answer immediately if you're just asking for the content. So pick up the latest file, work with it, and you can go from there. You will need to gradually have a mindset shift if you are used to working outside of Microsoft Copilot and now getting back to Copilot. And also the chat function, there is no history behind it. Also, you need to go with that. So that's it from me. Ready when you are here. May 18th will be the next one. May 16th, sorry. The poll results have come. So we have 84 people who've given it. That's a lot. That's enough sample for us with another thing, because we only opened it for a week. We should have done it for a month, but that's okay. We have a fair idea of where we need to go from here. I'll share that, and then I'll share a lot more on what's happening in it. So the plan is not to do monthly webinars. The plan is to fortnightly 2-week webinars. So there's a lot of content that we need to go and cover, because I'm now starting to feel it's coming. It's going to come and hit us much quicker than what is it. Because I've been invited to speak in an AI forum, and those guys have been doing this for a long time. It's called Singularity University. Go back and check it. It's pretty top end. So Singularity is coming in. So that's it. Sorry about the cough. So thank you very much for joining. If there is any questions or anything, please do drop on the chat. I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, keep learning, keep sharing, and I'll see you May the 16th. And for others who have joined our webinars, we are going to crunch the numbers, and we're going to come back to you, give you the code, so that whenever you are ready, come on board that, because you just need to be prepared for this. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you learned a few bits from that. Otherwise, the content is there for you. Whether it's APMP or AI or any other best practice, just go do it in the YouTube channel. There are tons and tons of content. So please do access. I'll see you May the 16th. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all your time, and thanks for all. Take care. Thank you. Take care. All the very best. All the very best.